Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley joins us now, one of the better legal minds out there. Professor, there's now some tape out there that's going to make the judge's case a whole lot more difficult. You've reviewed that tape. What do you find?
You know, these types of videotapes always make it more difficult for the defense. I spent much of my career as a criminal defense attorney, and that type of visual evidence makes it very difficult because there's no denying what occurred here. What the judge is trying to say is that she has immunity, that what she was doing as a judge. I find that pretty hard to understand. You know, if you are an NFL linebacker, you have a right to tackle people on the field. You don't have a right to go out in the parking lot and start tackling people. You had the same situation as a member of Congress. You had protections under speech and debate on what you said on the floor. But when you left the floor, you lost those special protections. This video shows that same line here. She first tells these agents to go speak to the chief judge. She falsely tells them that they cannot conduct an arrest in the hallway, which is not true. She tells them to go talk to the chief judge. And what does he say in response? He says, of course you can carry out the arrest in the hallway. So she was wrong. So she left her courtroom, and even though she was wearing a robe, that was not part of her courtroom, it was not part of her proceeding. She was facilitating someone's escape from federal authority. And I don't see how that fits into any judicial function.
Well, it certainly also made it more dangerous for those ICE officers. I mean, you're in a clean environment where the people there in the courthouse have been screened for weapons. But then once you're on the outside, I mean, they had to chase this guy down. What kind of punishment can this judge be facing? Can she be disbarred? Should she be disbarred if these allegations are true?
Well, Jason, one of the point you made initially should be amplified, because if you look at the end of that tape, what happens when he runs out of the building? He runs right in front of a car, and those agents that have to follow him in that traffic, what if the car had hit him? What if they hit an agent? That's what happens when you allow someone you facilitate their escape and move it into a public area. That's exactly what the agents wanted to avoid, because in a hallway in a courtroom, people you know are not armed. It's a closed space. You can prepare for it. Now, in terms of her punishment, quite frankly, I think this judge is hoping for jury nullification. I think she's hoping this is a very liberal district. She'll get a very favorable jury. She just got a remarkably favorable judge. She was assigned randomly a judge who was rebuked because he had written and said things publicly that were raw and political against Trump and against the conservatives on the Supreme Court. So I think she's certainly hoping that she's in a good district. She's not going to serve any jail time here. But the question is, what is the bar going to do about it? You know, when a judge earlier helped someone escape like this, the charges were dropped years later by the Biden administration. And the question is there going to be any real responsibility here?
Well, and that's where I have huge doubts about what the bar will actually do, because you're much closer to it than I am, but I just don't see these bars. I think they're kind of a joke. I don't think they ever really take up serious cases unless you can demonstrate that I'm wrong on that one.
No, and it's been a real problem. And I've been critical of, for example, the New York bar in the past. These are bars that can have a very strong political influence. To me, this is a very clear-cut case that they have to draw a line. Another judge, as soon as Dugan was arrested, said, I'm going to do the same thing. And so that should be a red light for the courts and the bar.
Yeah, just so fundamentally wrong, up and down. Jonathan Turley, you're the best. Appreciate you joining us tonight on Hannity.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.